All right, bias in the Bureau. FBI whistleblower Steve Friend joined us last week to warn us about the department's abuse of power and that it's only getting worse. Watch.
After 9/11, when the National Security Branch was grown exponentially, the FBI has now essentially evolved into a domestic intelligence agency with a law enforcement capability, which is what I expressed in the hearing. And that's a problem because the nature of law enforcement investigations are linear. They have a start and an end. And the nature of intelligence operations are circular. They just gain more intelligence to gain more intelligence, and they never end.
Steve Friend joins us now to continue that conversation. Steve, it's great to have you. The minute you said that line last week, you gave us that point. Everyone's eyes sort of opened about the transformation of the FBI. Of course, you saw it firsthand inside. If you could, just tell us a little more about what you meant of the FBI evolving from a law enforcement agency into an intelligence agency.
Yes, sir. So when the national security focus came home after 9/11, and our military did such a good job of disrupting terrorist activity overseas, the FBI had to justify its budget, had to justify its existence. It's a self-licking ice cream cone. So the focus became interior, on homegrown terrorists initially, and now it's evolved into domestic violent extremists, as the label is. And the nature of those investigations is we're going to gain intelligence on these individuals. We're going to infiltrate their organizations with undercover assets, with informant assets, hopefully spin up other investigations that could be around the country. And the original investigation might be closed out, but these other circles are continuing to spin. And there's not really a foreseeable end. You're not going to stop a criminal activity from happening. You just continue to gain intelligence, learn more, to, in a sense, learn more and learn more and learn more, and they never end.
So, Steve, the pivot to domestic extremism, as you point out, I'm curious. So the FBI's charter, its mandate is to focus on crime here at home, in the homeland, within the United States of America. It's the CIA's job to look at intelligence overseas, foreign assets, foreign issues. After 9/11, we focused on jihadi terrorism here at home. I would assume that was the FBI's major mandate. The pivot to domestic extremism, I'm curious what you think drove that. Is that part of the self-licking ice cream cone? That's where they could continue to find budget? Is that part of a political process because of administrations and a DOJ that pointed the focus back on whatever they called domestic extremism? How did they turn the crosshairs from, at that moment, 9/11, from jihadi terrorism to the broader domestic terrorism threat that could be defined in any way you want?
Well, I think it's a combination of what the FBI has historically represented, which back in the 30s and 40s, we thought that it was anti-communist and supported the Constitution, but in reality, it was more preserving the status quo and keeping the continuity of the ruling class. And now that our government has transitioned into a left-leaning government, it is now weaponizing the FBI to go after its perceived enemies, and those are going to be individuals on the right. And then you take that and combine it with the fact that there is this integrated program management metric system that the FBI has established for itself, very much like a traffic cop having to write a ticket book full, meet a quota. And anytime you ask for something within the federal government and there's dollars and cents attached to that, you're going to get more of it. So the FBI is fulfilling its task on meeting the expectations of the ruling political elite and benefiting financially.
I'm sorry, I almost interrupted you there. It's just another really good point with the historical perspective that its stated purpose is to preserve the status quo. In the 60s and 50s, that was by focusing on communism, communist threat at home. Now it's looking to the right as a threat to its status quo. I'm just curious, really quickly, you were in the FBI. Is this something that you learned, I mean, on the back end of your career? Did you notice it right when you got in? You surely didn't recognize it before you went to be an FBI agent.
No, I didn't, and I joined with the best intentions, just wanted to serve my countrymen and protect the Constitution. But the more I was exposed to it, and the more I see this IPM metric system is completely infiltrated not just the National Security Branch, but the criminal branches as well. And it's essentially thinking as a sales process where you're trying to juke the stats and make yourself look really good.
Yeah. Once again, great context, Steve, I mean, both historical and philosophical and what's happening with the FBI, but leading us to understand why it's happening, that they are focusing so much on American citizens and increasingly American citizens who hold conservative viewpoints. Steve Friend, another great conversation. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.